Muna, thanks for introducing. Just to my person, I'm Dirk Krüger. I'm the Business Development Manager at Ferrari Electronic. I'm a former product manager and I follow the market since OCSR2, or the first version of Skype for Business. And what I did is I follow the market. I talk with customers, I talk with partners, and try to have a handover and translate between real world and the company as a manufacturer. What we do here is a little webinar about Skype for Business and SIP2LYNC. A colleague of mine, Robert, has a bigger introducing some weeks ago about Ferrari Electronic and our portfolio, so I can skip this, focus on a little product portfolio, and then focusing mainly on Skype for Business and SIP2LYNC, what we do there. Why we need gateway still. A lot of customers say, yeah, okay, Microsoft allow direct SIP trunks, but in the real world, the most customers still want gateways or session border controllers for security reasons, for management reasons, and so on. And I want to focus now two examples. One example why you need still a gateway is because if you have a legacy PBX, you need to migrate. So what we do then is we go in front, or when you still have an ISDN PBX and you need to change to a SIP trunk to your provider, then we can go between. We can simulate ISDN to the PBX, to the legacy PBX, and connect to a SIP trunk of your provider. And in addition, we can connect Skype for Business. So in this role, we are connected to both roles. We are connected to your provider, we are connected to Skype for Business, and we are connected to the PBX, so we can manage all calls from left to right and so on. And then you have analog phones and unified messaging service like Robert introduced, so for fax and short message service for voicemail. This is all stuff that is still existing and you manage normally by a gateway. And also a gateway is able to manage a migration from a PBX to Skype for Business much better. So when you drop a gateway, like in this scenario with the gateway in the middle who is connected to your PBX and to the ISDN world, you can say, okay, I have all my users still here, and when I move a user from the PBX with his number to the Skype for Business server, the gateway can sync the status. So we ask the Skype for Business server, hey, is this user already deployed on your side? When it is like that, then we don't signaling the call anymore to the PBX. So it's a really smooth way of migration with less administration. And because of we are really good connected to our project and to the system integrators, let's say we focusing this market really well. We say, okay, we have a gateway, we have a solution who is focusing the Microsoft world. We just interrupt a little bit with Cisco and Avaya and so on, but from the configuration overview, it's always focusing on Microsoft world, and this makes it much easier to install. And all of our products we release are a little bit, let's say, familiar with the Microsoft world. So this directory service tool was synchronized directory informations, which user is already deployed on Skype or not. This is, of course, it's a tool we need for Skype for Business migrations. Then we have entry control, who brings video door openers into the Skype for Business world. When you have a legacy PBX and in your house there's a lot of video door openers deployed and you change to Skype for Business, you need a solution to transport this application for video door openers, and this is what we do. We couple it on the gateway. And we have SIP2DECT or SIP2LYNC. SIP2DECT applications, and our product behind it is SIP2LYNC. And Yeah, what is SIP2LYNC, or why you need SIP2LYNC? Especially there are several devices in this world for doing audio, special devices and phone infrastructure devices. I want to separate it a little bit. On the left side you have analog phones for emergency calls or elevators. You have fax devices. This kind of devices is already manageable. You need an analog SIP analog adapter. You configure it in your Skype for Business world. Use a commandlet. This is called CS analog device, and use a gateway for translation of the codec. You can also enable it for simultaneous ringing and stuff like that, but it is still a completely separated device without a user identity. And on the other side, we have phone infrastructure devices, so devices who have a user identity or is binded on a user and binded on the identity who's sometimes moved. It's asterisk applications for call exchanging. It's cool CEO devices with a huge desktop on it. They are still need to be in your environment, but they are not able to connect the Skype for Business world. You have DECT infrastructures who are already deployed, and they are not able to talk with the Microsoft world natively. And what you need for this phone infrastructure devices is when you want to integrate the identity, you need a kind of identity management. You need to manage the presence of the user. So when I register on my DECT device, I want that the user identity in Skype for Business goes on green. And when I receive a call, I want that all registered devices or all registered notebooks are ringing in the same time. I want that I have the same number normalization rules on my DECT device as on my Skype for Business client. And I want, of course, from the administration view, I want to monitor these devices. I want to see who calls who and how long was it. And this is what we try to realize with SIP2LYNC. What is SIP2LYNC? SIP2LYNC is a full integrated B2B UA back-to-back user agent. So what we say here is we have one connection to your normal SIP device and we have one connection to the Microsoft environment. And we translate everything between. The sessions to the left to Skype for Business are secured with a TLS protocol and the codec, and to the right side to your environment of asterisk, SNUM or something else. It is a completely different codec. It is not secured, and both sides just talking with the gateway. For this application, you need a Windows Server 2012 R2, an Office Master Gate, so a gateway of us, and all gateways we sell are able to work with SIP2LYNC. You need a SIP2SIP or Session Border Controller license to have the connection licensed from Skype for Business to your DECT device or to your phone device. And you need a user license for SIP2LYNC. Devices, we have a lot of experience, project experience, just write them down. It is SNUM, who we sell at the moment quite often because of the devices are really easy to deploy and good positioned on the market. We have a lot of migration projects with Mitel or Astra because of they're still the market leader in DECT infrastructures. And when you have a legacy infrastructure, you want to move to Skype for Business, then we are on it. We have some experience with Panasonic. This is, let's say, this fancy CEO devices with a big touch screen and stuff, looking good, but it's still just a telephone. You can play Angry Birds on it. We have migrations for Cisco and Siemens and so on and so on. Basically, it's possible with every device who have a regular SIP stack. I will jump now directly into into a short demo and show how it works. I have here an environment with a gateway configured. I have a Skype for Business server. Here's the application running, and I have here a Skype for Business client. This client is registered for Dirk, and I have here a SIP client. It's 3.6 SIP client. It's just a standard SIP client I use here for the demo, but instead, of course, it can be another phone or another SIP client. And I have configured here a user identity. It's called Guido, and Guido has just configured a number extension, so it's really an extension. It's not an E164 number you use in Skype for Business. This is just an extension. So when I run to my DECT station, I just log in with an extension and my PIN, and the DECT infrastructure or this client is configured to talk then with the gateway. This is everything I need to configure here. Say, this is my identity, this is my number, my PIN, and please go with all this information to the registrar of the gateway. And when I register here with Guido, the connection goes to the gateway informs SIP2LYNC, and we can see that Guido is online. Guido is here an identity. It is a Skype for Business identity. It is not configured as a simultaneous linking or something else. So in the background, we really do an identity management and compare them. So, and I can call Guido, of course. So when I call Guido as a Skype call, you can see in the background this client's call is ringing. I can pick up the phone, and then Guido is in a call. When I hook up again, he's free again. It's quite simple. And when I use here the extension of Dirk to call him, okay, I can use the full number +49 bam 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 bam, but of course my SIP2LYNC infrastructure is configured with normalization rules, and when I call the extension of Dirk 448, I need to be faster, then the Guido identity is calling here. I don't see the extension anymore. I don't see it as a PSTN call or something else. It is really a Skype for Business call. There is no difference for me as the receiver, Dirk. There's no difference between Skype for Business call or he calls from this native SIP client. Okay, now let's see how it is configured behind. I have here my gateway. The gateway configuration is quite simple. You can see here this is the administrator graphical user interface. I have here on the file some basics for backup, importing rules, change password or name and reboot. I can do a firmware update from here. I can set some VoIP parameters who sometimes need in our projects. But of course, a session border controller have thousands of configuration settings. But what we do here is we just put the most importance on the UI that you use in projects, and we use a lot of defaults. So when you're connecting a zip infrastructure with SIP2LYNC and the Skype for Business server, you can let everything on default here, because of this is what we're focusing. And we have here some logging parameters, of course, firewall rules, certificates where you can manage. This is really cool. The certificate management is quite easy. We can just create a certificate request, import it here, import it. I see, okay, the status is okay at the moment. I can verify it. I can import a check. It's super easy. I configured also here in SIP2LYNC server. The configuration here is I just put FQDN, I say the protocol is TLS and TLS is required. I can show the configured port, and from the settings it's also quite easy. I just need two directions. I need two routes for DECT and two routes for PSTN. So one will allow that I receive calls from PSTN and I can send calls to the PSTN, and the other settings are receive calls from DECT and send them to DECT. And you can see here also already the difference that the destination for two DECT devices is registered. So the gateway have a local registrar, and the local registrar is managed by its own. So I just say, okay, the destination rule is to registered. Of course, I can see my registered devices here. I just click on registered devices and I see, okay, who's registered at the moment, and I can close that again. Then I have the SIP2LYNC side. SIP2LYNC is also a quite easy service, not that much. We put a lot of energy into the installation wizard because of it is a UCMA application. And UCMA application means it is a application who is written on or based on an API from Microsoft. The API from Microsoft needs a lot of configurations. You need PowerShell extensions on the server, and we bring this at the installation wizard or everything in front. You just click on install, 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 and then at the end it looks like that, and you're done. Then you need to provision your application, because from the Microsoft Lync view, it is a trusted application, and trusted applications need to be saved in the Skype for Business topology. We do that also as a wizard. Of course, you can do it manually with PowerShell, but we give you also the chance to just click through and make everything happen in, let's say, an hour or something. Here we can also request a certificate. That happens sometimes that after 2 years the certificate runs out of time, and you can just click here on auto install now. Here requesting a new certificate, install it, behind it starts the service new, and everything is up again. We have a list of users. At the moment I have just my 3 users configured here, and when I click on a user I see his Lync URI, I see his real number, and I see, okay, what is this expected extension he will use on the not Microsoft device. So this is our information management, where we can match the user identities, matching the user identity from the Microsoft world and the external world, the not Microsoft world. What we can see here also, what's quite cool, is the presence numbers. So when you want, you can, of course, you can just set presence. When you run across the building with your mobile handset and you run into a meeting, then you want that everybody see that you're on Do Not Disturb. So I have here configured a presence number for Do Not Disturb in application. So when I dial *9, I will go on Do Not Disturb. Of course, I will try that out. *9, and Guido will go on Do Not Disturb. It's quite easy. Then, just to extend the configuration, I show you here on settings. On settings, this is the really important point on SIP2LYNC. The most of the configuration is automatically installed, but we need some information. We need to know, okay, what is the registrar FQDN? What pool we need to address here. What is my pool identity? What phone name this application has to use? Here's the application name and which gateway we want to interop here. And on the gateway side, I have also a really cool tool. We have a web UI on the gateway, and the web UI gateway can check if all the configurations running. Is the SIP2LYNC server talking with us? Is the Skype for Business server talking with us? What we get here is, we call it first level support UI. When you click here, we check all the typical mistakes you do in a Skype for Business environment. We check the DNS server, is he answering in us, is the ISDN ports are up and running, is the file system usage okay, and we can scan all destinations. Scan all destinations means that we look in the configuration. Oh, come on. Come here. Ooh. Maybe a Chrome problem here. Let me restart the Chrome browser. Here we go. Because if I restart the gateway before, I can log in here with my admin account and my password. The web UI is completely separated from the configuration UI. So where the support guys who are using this web UI, they can't destroy anything on the configuration side. This is really cool when you have a support center. So, okay, it still don't want running. I will skip this part and go on it later, but you will see that he tries a handshake for all configured SIP destinations. Because of the SIP2LYNC is also a configured SIP destination, he will look, okay, can I resolve the name, can I ping this machine, and can I do a successful TLS handshake with this machine, can I send SIP options to this machine? And this is really, really helpful. By configure everything, you don't need to call all the time and make hundreds of calls to see it working. No, you just click there and you see, okay, the service is running. When I have a problem here, it should be on the SIP deck device side. Okay, we are still good on time, and what I want to show you now is another scenario. Of course, Guido is an identity who's maybe a manager, and now he come back to the office and he sign in on his computer. So I see, okay, my last present status is do not disturb. I can go again on available. So I'm on again. And when I call now Guido, Guido is registered on 2 devices. From the Skype for Business side, Skype for Business thinks, okay, we have a registered Guido on this computer here, and we have a registered Guido in the SIP2LYNC application. So Skype will exchange the calls to both devices. So far. So here's the call on the Skype side, and here's also the call on the SwiftX phone. When I pick up the call here, and this is something important, when I pick up the call here, it's not a missed call for the Skype infrastructure. So I will not receive email with you may have a missed call. No, it is just the other device to pick up. Okay, any questions right here? Just look in the questions. If we have something. Okay, not right now. So I can go to my presentation back and want to explain a little bit more how it works in the background, what happened there. I want to explain you a little bit the demos I did. We have at least 4 applications involved. What I did is I have my SIP2LYNC client, my SIP2LYNC, my Skype for Business client, sorry, my Skype for Business client, and this Skype for Business client is calling Guido. This will escalate to the Skype for Business server, and the Skype for Business server realize, oh, okay, Guido is registered on the application. This application is SIP2LYNC. So maybe Guido is also registered on another Skype for Business client. Then the Skype for Business client will ringing. In addition, SIP2LYNC will be informed, hey, I have a call here for one of the users you're registered for. So it's still from Dirk to Guido. And Skype for Business now do the user identity matching. It looks okay. Is Dirk a number? Do we can look for a number of Dirk? Yes, Dirk is a user and Dirk has a ER149 number of blah blah blah. Guido is a legal user, Guido is a licensed user, Guido has a configured extension, and Guido is at the moment registered at the Office Master Gate. So I give the call SIP2LYNC as SIP2LYNC, escalate the call to Office Master Gate and modify the information. So now it is, we still have the name in it, the Dirk is calling, we add the number that it was, the device is able to call back the person, and we say the destination is 421. And the Office Master Gate is looking to the local register. The local register will see, okay, 421 is a registered device on this extension with this endpoint, this IP address, and this port. I show you already here that in the gate configuration, that in view registered endpoints, we have here this information. We know, okay, who is registered on which device, what for IP address it has, and which port. So in the DECT infrastructure, it's quite often then every phone use another port. So the local register is really, really important here. And then the Office Master Gate will send the invite to the SIP device who Guido is registered. The phone is ringing, and when Guido is picking up on this device, we have the phone call. Now the other direction is Guido, so the SIP device is calling a number 421, is the identity 421, and he calls 448. SIP2LYNC or the Office Master Gate is just see the rule, okay, this is a DECT call, it comes from a registered device, and the next intelligence station here is escalate the call to SIP2LYNC. SIP2LYNC is looking, okay, is 421 a legal licensed user, and which identity has this user? So 421 is Guido. Guido at my domain. And Guido has some, is based on a dial plan, and for this dial plan I have a normalization rule for 421. So I put the normalization rule from the Skype for Business server and give the call to the Skype for Business server. The Skype for Business server see, okay, Dirk is on a Skype for Business client, and this Skype for Business client is ringing. When he picks up the phone, we make a media bypass, we put a presence update, and both persons are having a phone talk. What is quite interesting is what happened when we have, in addition, Dirk registered also on the DECT device. Then the Skype for Business server will see, okay, Dirk is registered on Skype for Business. I sent an invite to this registered client. And Dirk is registered on SIP2LYNC. So I have to inform SIP2LYNC about that. And he sends an invite again with this zip identity from Guido to Dirk. The SIP2LYNC server matches to the local database, see, okay, I have numbers for Dirk, I have numbers for Guido. He put the full number from Guido to the zip invite, he invites the 448, and this device is ringing. So I hope, and I know it's a complicated scenario, but we focus really to make the installation quite easy. And for tracing and understanding, of course, this part is quite important to understand what is the call for. I'm finished now with my presentation. Okay, then I thanks for your time. And for any questions, please contact the guys from the SciTech. Thanks, Muner, for the organization. And Amara is also always listen to your questions when you have anything, when you need something. And if you want to have a direct social contact, we will see us also on the GITEX this year again. And yeah, stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dirk. Thank you, everyone, for attending Ferrari Electronic SIP2LYNC webinar. Our next webinar will be Ferrari Electronic Office Master Suite integration in Microsoft Office 365. We will send you shortly all the detail regarding this webinar. Thank you again for attending. Bye-bye.